So boilers are on, heating's now on. Admittedly, some people will be maybe not heating at quite the temperatures they used to because of the cost of fuel at the moment. But boiler season is also damp and mould season. It's the worst time of year for properties getting damp and mould. And damp is caused by either water permeating the fabric of the building, or it's caused by condensation. It's classic at this time of year to get mould coming inside properties, and this is generally caused by condensation buildup. It's a lack of ventilation. When I talk about ventilation, I mean everything from having windows open so we can get air circulation in kitchens and bathrooms. It's about turning on your extractor fan. If your extractor fan breaks, report it to your landlord or the managing agent as soon as possible. The difference in these air temperatures is what causes the buildup of mould. When you're sleeping in bed at night, often we have windows open during the day, but especially in the winter months, we'll probably close them. Have your windows got trickle vents on them? When you wake up in the morning, are your windows covered in water? If they're covered in water, there is not sufficient ventilation in your bedroom and you will get mould building up. And did you know that the ambient temperature for mould spores is between 15 and 25 centigrade? That is exactly the kind of temperatures we heat our properties in the winter. Once mould spores come in, it is very difficult to get rid of them. If they show up on ceilings, on paintwork, on wallpaper, all of that has to be stripped back and then redone. Things you can do to stop that happening would be don't block up air bricks. If you've got air bricks inside the property, let them have airflow happening. Don't put furniture in front of them. Don't put your furniture against walls, especially north-facing walls, the particularly cold walls. Just allow a tiny gap at the back to allow airflow. Try not to dry. I know this is really difficult in the winter. Try not to dry your clothes inside the property. If you have to, then I'd recommend a humidifier, something that takes all that moisture out of the air, because it's that moisture in the air that causes the mould buildup. Other things like always make sure your extractor fans are on, as I said earlier, in kitchens and bathrooms. Put lids on saucepans when you're cooking. All of these things will really help. Make sure you clear your gutters. Gutter buildup will cause damp. Check the brickwork to make sure there are no cracks in it. That's how damp gets into the fabric of the building, which is slightly different to condensation, but will ultimately have the same impact. Damp and mould affects particularly people with lung conditions, with weakened immune systems. Young children and babies are particularly susceptible. It's really important that you do everything you can, both as a landlord and as a tenant. If your property does have cracks in the brickwork, make sure they get sorted out. Either report it to your managing agent, or if you're a landlord managing yourself, make sure you keep an eye on these things. Regular property inspections, especially during the winter months, by a landlord who's managing it himself or from the managing agent, are really important, because if we spot this and we can nip it in the bud before it grows, that's really helpful, and it is a health hazard. So please be careful.